Welcome to our channel English Avenue. Today, I am not just telling you a story. I am giving you something that could change your life forever. Because this is not just a summary. It is the truth of a man who lost everything, but still found the power to live. And not just live, but rise. This is the story of Viktor Frankl and his world-famous book, Man's Search for Meaning. This book is not just popular, it is not just famous. It is one of the most powerful and most important books ever written. It has been translated into over 24 languages. It has sold more than 16 million copies worldwide. And even now, people across the world read it when they feel lost, broken, or empty inside. Because it answers one question that we all ask. What is the meaning of my life? Especially when I'm suffering. You see, this book is not written by a motivational speaker. It is written by a real man. A man who lived through one of the darkest times in human history. The Nazi concentration camps. He was tortured. He was starved. He lost his parents, his wife, his friends, his freedom. But inside that pain, he found something that changed not only his life, but the lives of millions of people around the world. That is why this video is very important. If you feel lost, tired, or weak, if you're struggling in life, or just looking for a reason to keep going, then please, watch this video till the end, because this story will not just touch your heart, it will also teach you English in the most powerful way, through real emotions, real words, and a real story. Everything in this summary is explained in easy English, so even if you are learning English, you will understand every line and feel every moment. So if you want more powerful, life-changing stories like this, if you want to improve your English through stories that stay in your heart forever, subscribe now. Because this is not just a book summary. It's a journey. It's a mirror. And it might just help you find the meaning in your own life. Let's begin. Part 1. Inside the camp. A man who lost everything. Imagine this. You are a respected doctor. You have a career, a loving wife, parents who care for you, friends. You are happy. Your life has meaning. And then, one day, it all disappears. The Nazis knock on your door. They take you away. You are sent on a train with hundreds of others. You don't know where you're going. You are told nothing. You are just a number now. This is exactly what happened to Viktor Frankl in 1942. He was a brilliant psychiatrist living in Austria. He had a beautiful wife and a good life. But he was Jewish, and that was enough for the Nazis. They arrested him. They tore him away from his family, and they sent him to one of the most terrifying places in history, Auschwitz, the Nazi death camp. When the train arrived at Auschwitz, there were no goodbyes. There was no time to cry. Everything happened fast. Men on one side, women and children on the other. That was the last time he ever saw his parents and wife. They were killed. No explanation, no mercy, just gone. Frankl was forced to strip naked. His clothes, taken. His name, erased. Even his manuscript, a book he had written with years of hard work, gone. He was left with nothing. No family, no clothes, no identity, no food, no freedom, nothing. And now, he had to live. In a camp where every single day was full of beatings, starvation, slavery, cold nights, death, fear. But here's what makes Viktor Frankl's story so powerful. He did not just try to survive. He started to observe. He asked a powerful question. Why do some people give up and others keep going? He noticed something amazing. It wasn't the strongest people who survived. It wasn't the smartest. It wasn't the richest. It was the people who had a reason to live. People who had something to look forward to. A dream. A person they loved. A purpose. There was one moment when Frankl was digging in the freezing cold, working as a slave. He was hungry, weak, ready to collapse. And suddenly, he imagined the face of his wife. He didn't even know if she was alive. But in that moment, just thinking about her gave him hope. He smiled. In hell, he smiled. Because in that one moment, he found meaning. He realized this. We cannot avoid suffering, but we can choose how we respond to it. The Nazis could take away his clothes, his home, his family, but they could never take away his inner freedom, his ability to choose his attitude. That was his power, and he believed that every human has that same power. Life inside the camp. Frankl saw two kinds of prisoners. One, the ones who gave up. They stopped caring. They stopped hoping. They became empty inside. And soon after, they died. Two, the ones who kept a reason in their heart. They survived. Even if they were weak physically, their spirit was strong. They held on to a memory, a dream, a mission. And that made all the difference. There was one prisoner who told Frankl, "I must survive because I need to finish my scientific work. The world needs it." Another man said, "My child is waiting for me. I must stay alive." These people had a why, and that gave them the strength to handle the how. Even if that how was starvation, cold, pain, or death. So, if your life has meaning, you can survive anything. It doesn't matter if your situation is hard, if you're in pain, if you've lost something or someone. You still have one powerful gift. The power to choose your attitude. The power to find purpose. Even inside the pain. Part 2. The battle inside the mind. How meaning saves you. Inside the concentration camp, the real suffering was not just outside. It was inside the mind. People were dying from hunger, but they were also dying from something much worse. Hopelessness. Viktor Frankl watched it every day. He saw a new kind of pain. A pain that didn't bleed, but destroyed people from inside. People who still had food. People who still had strength in their body. Suddenly collapsed. Not because of their body, but because of their spirit. He discovered something unforgettable. When a person believes that life has no meaning, they become empty. And when that emptiness grows, death comes quickly. That's how he saw people dying. Not just from gas chambers, but from spiritual suicide. Frankl called this the existential vacuum. A space in your soul where there is no meaning, no hope, no reason to keep going. He saw this vacuum every day in the camp. He also saw it in people after the war. People who had money, houses, jobs, but felt completely empty inside. Because without meaning, even a comfortable life can feel like a prison. There was one man Frankl remembers clearly. He told the other prisoners, "I had a dream." A voice said, "You will be free on March 30th. I believe it. That day, I will walk out." As March came closer, that man became excited. But on March 30th, no one was freed. That night, the man became sick. By the next morning, he was dead. Frankl believed he died because his hope died. When his dream collapsed, so did his immune system. His body followed his broken spirit. Most people think the prisoners were only suffering because of the guards, the violence, the cold. But Viktor saw something different. he saw two types of people. One, the ones who became animals. Some prisoners became selfish and cruel. They stole food from other weak prisoners. They beat others just to stay alive. They turned into the thing they hated. They let the camp change their soul. Frankl was heartbroken to see this. He saw ordinary men lose their humanity. Two, the ones who became saints. And then, he saw something that shocked him. He saw prisoners who had nothing, but still shared their bread. He saw men who were freezing, still offering their jacket to others. He saw people who were kind, even when life was cruel. These people had meaning in their hearts. They didn't survive because of their strength. They survived because they had a reason that was bigger than the pain. Frankl had one secret weapon. He had a dream, a mission. Before he was arrested, he was writing a book about meaning in life. That book was taken from him. But in the camp, he rewrote the book in his mind. Every day, he memorized ideas. He imagined teaching students after the war. He imagined speaking to people, helping them find meaning in their suffering. That dream gave him energy when he had no food. It gave him light when he saw only darkness. He who has a why to live, Frankl often said, can bear almost any how. There was one moment Frankl describes. He was walking outside the barracks. It was winter. The prisoners had no shoes, just wooden slippers. Their toes were bleeding. The wind was sharp like knives. The guards were screaming. Everyone was walking with their heads down, broken. And in that moment, Viktor looked up. Above him was the sunset, a beautiful pink and orange sky. He whispered inside his mind, "Yes, the world is still beautiful. Even now, even here, there is something greater than pain." And just like that, he smiled. He felt hope. No one else saw it. But inside him, he felt free. That's when he realized, they can take away my body, but my mind is still mine. Frankl taught us something the world had forgotten. Between what happens to you and how you react, there is a space. And in that space, you have freedom. You can choose your response. You can choose to grow. You can choose to fight. You can choose to love. You can choose to keep your soul alive, even when the world tries to destroy you. Frankl said we should stop asking, "What do I want from life?" and start asking, "What does life want from me?" He believed that every life situation asks us a question, and our job is to answer it with our life. In the camp, the question was, will you become cruel, selfish, broken, or will you stay human, loving, and hopeful? Frankl chose love. He chose to be a servant of meaning, not a slave to suffering. From all of this pain, Frankl created a new form of therapy. Logotherapy, the therapy of meaning. He said people don't need pleasure or power to be happy. They need meaning. He believed that many modern problems, depression, anxiety, suicide, happen because people feel empty, not because they are weak, lazy, or broken. Viktor Frankl survived one of the darkest places on earth, not by running from suffering, but by finding a purpose inside it. If you're going through something hard, remember, you can survive it, you can overcome it, but not by fighting everything, not by blaming everyone. You must find your reason, your meaning, your why, because with that, you can go through any storm. Part 3. The 3 ways to find meaning and change your life forever. After Viktor Frankl survived the concentration camp, he didn't waste time. He didn't just relax, enjoy freedom, or try to forget the pain. He began teaching people what he had learned inside the camp. Not from a book, not from a classroom, but from a place where millions died, and only meaning kept people alive. He started speaking to students, writing his book, and creating something the world had never seen before. A new form of therapy called logotherapy. Logos is the Greek word for meaning. So logotherapy means healing through meaning. He said, "We are not animals. We are not machines. We are human beings. And the deepest need in our life is meaning. We don't need more pleasure. We don't need more money. We don't even need to be famous or successful. What we truly need is this: a reason to wake up in the morning, a reason to live through pain, a reason to keep going when we feel empty." Viktor Frankl said that every single person can find meaning in life, no matter what happens to them, in 3 powerful ways. Let's go deep into each one, with emotional, powerful, and unforgettable examples. 1. By doing something meaningful. Work, creation, contribution. This doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire. It doesn't mean you have to start a business or become famous. It simply means doing something that matters to someone, even if it's small. It could be writing a book, taking care of your children, building a house, feeding the poor, teaching someone, creating art, helping your community, or simply making one person smile. Meaning comes from doing, not waiting. There was a man who was very depressed. He had lost his wife. He had no energy to live. He told Frankl, "I have nothing left. I want to die." Frankl asked him, "What work did your wife do?" He replied, "She raised our children. She took care of me. She made our house a home." Then Frankl said, "Then honor her by continuing her work. Take care of the house. Help your children grow strong. Become the father she would be proud of." The man cried. And from that day, he woke up every morning with a new purpose. He didn't become rich. He didn't become famous. But he became strong because his life had meaning. The lesson: when you do something that helps someone else, you find yourself. So even if your life feels small, your work can still be full of meaning if it comes from the heart. 2. By loving deeply. Relationships, connection, giving your heart. Frankl believed that one of the greatest sources of meaning in life is love. Not just romance, but deep, honest, powerful love. For your partner, your child, your parents, your friends, your students, or even a memory. The salvation of man is through love and in love. Frankl once stood in freezing snow. He was hungry, in pain, weak. And suddenly, he saw his wife's face. In his imagination. She was not there. He didn't know if she was alive. But in that moment, he felt something incredible. "Love goes beyond life and death," he wrote. "In that moment, I felt more alive than ever, because I loved her." That love gave him energy. It gave him strength to walk through the snow. It gave him purpose. A woman once told Frankl she was suicidal. She had lost her child. Her husband left her. Frankl asked her, "Was your child proud of you?" She said yes. Then he said, "Then live in a way that continues your child's story. Live for the love you shared. Let that love guide you." That one idea changed her life. She didn't need pills. She didn't need fake positivity. She needed meaning through love. The lesson: love is stronger than pain. Love is stronger than fear. Love is even stronger than death. Even if the person is gone, the love you had can still give your life purpose. 3. By choosing your attitude in suffering. Courage, dignity, strength. This is the hardest, but the most powerful way to find meaning. Frankl said, "If life gives you pain that you cannot escape, you still have one final freedom: to choose your response." One day, a group of prisoners were beaten, humiliated, starved. After a long day, one prisoner stood up and said, "Let us thank God that we are not the ones doing the beating." Everyone was silent. That man had just taught them something powerful. Even in pain, we can choose dignity. Even in suffering, we can choose humanity. Frankl once met a young man who had lost both arms and both legs in an accident, but the boy smiled. Frankl asked him why. The boy said, "Now that I have lost everything, I can finally see what's really important." He became a motivational speaker. He helped other disabled children. He taught them to love life. That is true freedom. The lesson: you may not choose your pain, but you can always choose your attitude. And that is the highest form of human strength. Frankl said, "Don't ask, 'What do I want from life?' Ask, 'What is life asking from me right now?' Maybe life is asking you to be brave in your illness. Take care of someone. Finish a dream. Forgive someone. Rise after a failure. Speak for the voiceless. Or simply, stay kind when the world is cruel." Meaning is found by answering life's call with courage. Frankl said that when people lose meaning, they become addicted, become violent, fall into depression, lose their soul, destroy their relationships. That's why his book is not just about survival. It's about saving your spirit before it's too late. Viktor Frankl didn't teach this in a classroom. He didn't guess it from theories. He lived it. He watched people suffer. He watched people die. He watched people give up. But he also saw people who survived with purpose, people who found love in the dark, people who chose courage when the world was cruel. And that's why he said, life never becomes unbearable because of circumstances. It becomes unbearable when we lose meaning. So if you're in pain, ask yourself, can I help someone today? Can I love someone deeply? Can I choose strength even in this pain? If the answer is yes, then your life still has meaning. And that is all you need. Part 4. How one man's pain changed the world. And how you can use his lessons to change your life. When Viktor Frankl walked out of the concentration camp, he had nothing. No family, no house, no money, no country to call safe, no book, no awards, no one waiting at the gate. But what he had was more powerful than all of that. He had an idea, a truth, a discovery born in death and darkness. And this truth would become one of the most powerful ideas in modern psychology. Frankl begins his mission. He began teaching. He began speaking. He rewrote the book they burned. He turned pain into pages. He turned his suffering into science. And that book, Man's Search for Meaning, became one of the most life-changing books ever written. It has helped war survivors, cancer patients, prisoners, depressed teenagers, business leaders, grieving parents, lonely elders, even people who were planning to end their own life. People across the world began to read it, and something amazing happened. People started to cry. People started to think. People started to live again. They read his words and whispered, "I'm not broken, I'm just empty, and now I understand." A woman once came to a clinic in deep depression. She said, "I have no family, no job, no reason to live." Doctors gave her medicine. It didn't help. She tried meditation. It didn't help. Then someone gave her Man's Search for Meaning. She read it in one night. She came back to the clinic the next morning, crying, not from pain, but from realization. She said, "I don't want to die anymore, Because even if I have nothing, I can still choose how I respond to life. I can still love. I can still help someone else. I still have my spirit. And that is something the world can't take from me. Why Frankl's message is so powerful? Because it does not tell you to be positive all the time. It does not lie to you. It tells you something deeper and more honest. Yes, life is painful. Yes, the world is unfair. Yes, you will suffer. But even inside that suffering, you can choose your response. And in that response, you will find your strength. This message is stronger than motivation. It is spiritual survival. Practical ways to use Frankl's message in daily life. Let's now break it down into real, clear, powerful steps. These are not rules. These are weapons you can use in your darkest moments. Step 1. Ask life a question. Every morning, Frankl said, "Don't ask what you want from life. Ask what life is asking from you." So every morning ask, who needs me today? What pain can I carry with courage today? What action can I take today that gives life more meaning? This turns every day into a mission, not a burden. Step 2. Find one small way to serve. You don't need a perfect job or a big stage. Just help someone. Listen to someone who feels alone. Feed someone who is hungry. Teach someone something useful. Create something that helps others. Even small acts become meaningful when done with love. Step 3. When pain comes, stand tall. The next time life gives you pain, stop. Don't run. Don't collapse. Don't shout, "Why me?" Instead, ask, what is life asking from me in this moment of pain? Maybe it is asking you to forgive, to grow, to let go, to stay kind, to become stronger, to trust yourself. Frankl's power came from this moment, the moment when he turned pain into purpose. You can do the same. Step 4. Hold on to love, even if you lost everything. Love is not always about who is near you. Sometimes it is about who you carry in your heart. A parent who passed away, a friend who left, a partner who betrayed you. Even when they're gone, your ability to love them and love again is your power. Frankl didn't survive because he had food. He survived because he had love, even when the person was not there. Step 5. Remind yourself daily. My spirit is still free. When you feel stuck in your life, job, family, country, situation, remember this. You might not be free on the outside, but your spirit is still free. You can still choose your attitude. No one can control your thoughts, your love, your choices, or your growth, unless you let them. That is Frankl's ultimate truth. There was a man in India who was born blind. His parents abandoned him. He grew up in an orphanage. He was bullied, beaten, and told, "You'll never become anything." He was suicidal. Then he read Frankl's book in Braille. He said, "If Viktor Frankl can find meaning in a death camp, then I can find meaning in my blindness." That man now teaches blind children how to read and write. He became a speaker. He became a light. Not because life was easy, but because he gave it meaning. Why this book matters now more than ever. Today, millions of people feel lost. They scroll for hours. They feel lonely even in crowded places. They smile on the outside but cry inside. They succeed but feel empty. They compare, compete, chase, but they don't know why. This is the real disease of our time, meaninglessness. And that's why Viktor Frankl's message is more important today than ever before. Let me leave you with this. You may not control what happens to you, but you can always control what it means to you. And that meaning will become your strength. You don't have to